Okay. So, you know that feeling. It's not really something you see. It's deeper, isn't it? Like right in your gut. That ache of repetition, like you're watching the same bad movie scene play out again.
Hmm. It's probably one of the most universal human experiences, really. Finding yourself back in that same emotional room. Maybe the details look different, different people, different situation, but the feeling, that knot inside,
So
identical.
I know exactly what you mean, and I hate that moment when you recognize
What?
it. It's not just like the tightness or the stomach drop. It's the voice inside that says, you knew this would happen, you saw it coming, tried to avoid it maybe, and boom, walked right back in.
Yeah.
Feels almost inevitable.
Right, and that feeling, that sense of inevitability, like it's some kind of personal failure, maybe a lack of willpower.
Yeah.
That's the very first idea we need to gently set aside. This isn't about being broken or weak. It's not about needing more discipline. This repetition, this pull, it's coming from somewhere much deeper, older than logic. It's an old part of your system, still reaching for completion, for some kind of contact that didn't quite land the first time around.
So wait, if I'm feeling stuck, it's not because I need to try harder. It's because some emotional part of me is demanding resolution for something that got interrupted.
Precisely. Exactly that.
Yeah.
So today, we're not really here to talk about failure. We're talking about loyalty, a deep kind of loyalty. This deep dive, it's about understanding this pattern, this loop we keep mentioning, not seeing it as a mistake to fix, but as unfinished business. And it's absolutely alive right now in your present. That feeling of being stuck, that's just the leftover energy, the echo of something incomplete wanting your attention.
Okay, loyalty. I like that framing. Let's unpack that a bit more. That sounds kinder.
It is, actually. It's a very tender truth about how we're wired. The system, your whole being, is fundamentally loyal to life. And life means completion. It seeks wholeness.
Now, when we say the loop, people might think of, huge dramatic life events, but what our sources really highlight is how subtle it often is, right? It doesn't usually announce itself like some big villain. It just feels normal, or like habit.
Mm-hmm.
So how does this loyalty thing show up day to day?
Well, it shows up right where our deepest needs bump up against our learned ways of surviving. Think about common relationship arguments. Maybe it starts with something really small, trivial even, like socks on the floor or how the dishwasher gets loaded. It happens all the time. But then within minutes, maybe seconds, it's not about the socks anymore, is it? Suddenly it's escalated. It's huge. It's you never see me, or why do I always have to do everything?
Ah, okay, so the socks, they're just the trigger,
Yeah.
the delivery system for that old feeling that never got expressed properly.
Exactly. The dishes are just the doorway, the feeling that floods and that sudden, overwhelming sense of being invisible or burdened. That's the loop making its return visit. Or think about work. You could be incredibly competent, successful, but maybe before you send a simple email to your boss, just a status update, you get that horrible knot of anxiety, that spike. You're bracing yourself, waiting for criticism, for disapproval, even when there's no objective reason for it in this situation.
Right, it's like a ghost in the machine. It's not really your boss you're reacting to. Maybe it's a parent or a critical teacher from way back. And your body just it reacts to the ghost, not the person actually in front of you.
Mm-hmm. The body is still living out that old script. Absolutely. And another classic one, you see this a lot, it touches on that pattern of self-abandonment, the friendship loop. You find yourself giving and giving, doing all the emotional heavy lifting, offering help, sacrificing your own time and energy, until you just feel this tight knot of resentment building up. And then maybe you explode. Or, more often, you just withdraw. You pull back, maybe ghost them. And then eventually you feel really lonely again. The real loop there is that cycle of saying yes until you can't stand the person you said yes to.
Okay, so looking at those examples, the fight about nothing, the work anxiety, the overgiving, the core idea from Gestalt here is that the repetition always points back to something unfinished, something incomplete from way back when.
Always. The system is demanding resolution for what got cut short. The loop is basically the psyche's way of trying over and over to finish that interrupted interaction. Maybe it was a sentence you needed to say but swallowed, or a boundary you needed to set but you softened it or just put it off, or maybe it was a huge wave of anger or grief that just wasn't allowed. It got numbed out, pushed down, never really felt or honored.
And what seems really key here is that the original interruption, it wasn't always someone else stopping you, was it?
Yeah.
Often it was an internal choice. Choosing safety over speaking your truth.
That's the crucial reframing. And it asks for, immense compassion for yourself. The loop isn't coming back to punish you for making those protective choices back then. It's actually coming back to offer you another chance, right here, right now. An invitation, really, to complete what got interrupted, to finally say the thing you silenced, to let yourself feel what you numbed out, or maybe to finally choose yourself, even when every alarm bell in your body is screaming that choosing yourself means you'll be abandoned.
Wow. Describing the loop as the psyche's stubborn, relentless love letter. That's actually really moving. But how does that work? Like, practically? Is this loyalty thing? Is it biological?
Oh, it's entirely physiological, absolutely. Think about it. When an emotional experience gets interrupted, let's say a child feels intense rage, but is immediately shut down, shamed, told, don't you dare. The energy mobilized for that rage, it has to go somewhere. It doesn't just vanish, it gets sort of encapsulated, trapped.
Yeah.
The stress chemistry kicks in, cortisol, adrenaline, but the natural release, the expression, is blocked.
So the body basically creates a file for that experience.
Right.
Marked danger. Don't finish this feeling.
That's a great way to put it, precisely. And that trapped energy, that memory of being interrupted, it sets the baseline for how your nervous system reacts now. So when something similar happens today, maybe a perceived slight or someone raising their voice, your nervous system doesn't really do a calm, rational assessment. It pulls up that old danger file and boom, heart races, muscles tense, and you automatically repeat the old survival strategy. Freeze, flee, appease, whatever worked back then. That's the love letter mechanism. Your body's faithfully bringing you back to the scene of the original interruption, hoping that this time, maybe with the resources you have now as an adult, you can finally complete the movement. Finishes the feeling.
Okay, before we get into interrupting this cycle, maybe we should help people tune into where this lives right now. Because it's not just a concept, is it? It's physical. So if you're listening, just take a moment, check in. Where do you feel that tension, that familiar story? Where does it show up in your body? Is it that sudden heaviness behind your ribs? Or maybe a knot in your throat? That hollow feeling in your stomach? Or just buzzing hands, maybe?
That specific sensation, the one that keeps showing up, that's the echo of the loop. It's the physical residue, really. The stored energy from all those times you chose survival over full expression, all the times you didn't let yourself be fully present or feel completely or speak your absolute truth.
That's such an important point. This unfinished business, it's not history filed away neatly in the past. It's living right now, in the present tense.
Absolutely. It lives in the breath you unconsciously hold when things get tense. It lives in that chronic ache in your jaw or your shoulders. It's there in the apology that jumps out of your mouth before you've even done anything wrong. It's the bone-deep weariness behind saying, I'm fine, when you're actually falling apart inside. The tension you feel now is the history demanding to be resolved.
And the loop itself, it basically starts the very first time we make that survival choice, choosing safety over truth.
Yes. That moment you chose survival over expressing yourself fully. Safety over using your voice. Silence over potential conflict. And look, at the time, that choice made sense. It was protective. It kept you safe, helped you belong, stopped you from feeling overwhelmed. It worked. But it came with a cost, a hidden cost that we end up paying every single time the loop plays out again.
And eventually, you just get exhausted, right? You can't keep performing survival indefinitely. You can't keep overriding your truth forever.
Exactly. And that deep fatigue, that burnout, it's actually, strangely, a hopeful sign. It signals readiness. Not readiness to fix yourself, but readiness to finally gather the energy needed to turn back, gently, courageously, towards that first moment of interruption.
Turning towards the feeling itself.
Yes. Not the story about the feeling, the he shouldn't have, or I shouldn't feel this way, but the raw physical sensation, the fear, the shame, the helplessness, the abandonment. What happened to that energy when it first arose? Did you swallow it down? Did you run? Did you kind of harden around it? That moment of suppression, that's where the loop was born. And the work is simply to return to that birthplace, but this time with kindness, with curiosity.
Okay, let's get into the mechanics now. How does this actually work? The Gestalt model talks about a natural cycle of experience, right? Like, if things flow properly, they resolve. But these loops we're talking about, they're proof that the cycle keeps getting cut short. We interrupt ourselves.
Oh, we are masters of self-interruption, absolute masters. But let's map out the healthy cycle first, because the interruptions only really make sense when you see what should be happening naturally. So, the cycle flows like this. First, sensation. I feel something, a physical change. Then, awareness. I recognize it. Oh, that feeling is anger, or sadness, or fear. Next is mobilization. Energy starts to build for action. My fists might clench, my heart might race, I'm getting ready. Then comes action. I express the feeling cleanly. Maybe I say no, maybe I state a boundary, maybe I cry. After action is contact. My expression meets the world. Someone hears my no, my tears are seen, maybe. Then, ideally, satisfaction. The energy discharges, the need feels met. There's a sense of completion, release, and finally, withdrawal integration. I rest. I absorb the experience. I learn from it. Then I'm ready for the next cycle.
Wow, that sounds so smooth, clean,
Yeah.
efficient. So where do we usually derail? Where do we get stuck?
Well, the interruptions can happen anywhere, but there are common sticking points. A big one is right at that first major step, moving from sensation to awareness. We feel something, the tension, the heat, the ache, but we immediately jump to deflection or desensitization.
Right, so the body sends the signal, but the mind just overrides it. Like, nope, I'm fine. Or,
Yeah.
that's silly, don't worry about it.
Exactly. We basically shut down the awareness because the feeling itself feels too threatening. If I actually let myself know that I'm furious or that I'm deeply hurt, well, then I might have to do something. And doing something feels risky, so it feels safer to just stay numb, stay in that familiar, disconnected place.
Okay, but let's say we get past that. We allow the awareness, we admit, okay, I am angry, the energy starts to mobilize. What happens then? Where's the next block?
This is a big one. This is often where retroflexion kicks in. And retroflexion is a major part of the architecture of the loop. So the energy mobilizes, the system gears up, maybe to lash out or defend or run away. But maybe we learned early on that expressing that energy outwards wasn't safe. It led to punishment or rejection. So what do? We turn it back inwards against ourselves. Instead of shouting, we clench our jaw. Instead of setting a boundary, we tighten our shoulders. We swallow the words. That mobilized energy gets reflected back onto the self, and it shows up as things like chronic muscle tension, headaches, anxiety, or even self-criticism.
Whoa, so that daily tension a lot of us carry, that could actually be the physical echo of all the things we geared up to say or do, but then turn back on ourselves.
Very often, yes, precisely. The cycle gets broken because the clean action, like saying, no, I can't do that, or I need some space, gets replaced. It might be replaced by passive aggression, or maybe intellectualizing, talking about the feeling instead of feeling it, or by introjection.
Introjection, what's that?
Introjection is when we swallow whole certain beliefs or rules from our family or culture without ever really digesting them or asking if they're true for us. Things like, good girls don't get angry, or successful people are always busy, or you should always put others first. These internalized rules, these shoulds, they can completely block the action phase.
Okay, and what about later in the cycle? Let's say we manage to take some action, maybe we do say something, but then we skip satisfaction. What happens if we don't let ourselves feel that, complete feeling?
Then we often jump straight into guilt or shame. Let's take Maya, our example of the overgiver. Say she actually manages to set a boundary. She says no to something. Her system, conditioned by those interjects, might immediately flood her with shame. Oh no, I was selfish. I was too harsh. That wasn't nice. She doesn't allow herself that moment of clean relief, the satisfaction of having honored her own needs. And because she skipped the completion, the satisfaction, the energy from the original need, the reason she wanted to say no, it's still buzzing, it's unresolved. So she'll likely feel pulled right back into the old giving pattern almost immediately, maybe to make up for feeling selfish.
So the energy that gets interrupted, it doesn't just disappear, it gets stored, trapped. And it actually starts to define the shape of our lives. It becomes the invisible walls of the loop.
Exactly. It creates the emotional architecture we keep bumping into. Let's stick with Maya for a second, the kind fixer who gives till she resents it. Her pattern is a perfect illustration of this self-interruption.
Yeah, walk us through her specific cycle. How does she keep interrupting herself?
Okay, so Maya is probably very tuned into other people's needs, right? She feels the initial sensation, maybe a deep weariness, a heavy feeling when someone asks her for something she genuinely doesn't have the energy for. The appropriate awareness would be something like, wow, I'm exhausted, I'm at my limit, I really need to say no to this. Clear signal. But because her history taught her that her worth, her belonging, depends on meeting other people's needs, she interrupts that awareness. She brings in the interject. A good person always helps out, or I shouldn't let them down.
So she overrides her own body's signal,
Yes.
ignores the fatigue.
Yes. Then the energy of resistance that in her know-it definitely mobilizes. She feels it, but she retroflects it, turns it inward. So instead of the clean action of setting a boundary, sorry, I can't right now, she forces a smile and says, yes, of course. Outwardly compliant, but inwardly, it's a tiny betrayal of self. And the resentment starts to build precisely because she is fundamentally taking advantage of herself. She's betraying her own limits.
Wow. That's a really powerful way to put it. Her loop isn't really about other people taking advantage of her. It's about her taking advantage of her own energy, her own needs.
Absolutely. She's abandoning herself in that moment to maintain connection or avoid conflict or live up to that introjected good person image. She performs nice, helpful, calm, while inside her system is screaming, no! And every time she does this, her nervous system learns the lesson again. Your truth isn't safe. Your needs don't matter as much as theirs. And because she habitually skips satisfaction, she never feels good about saying yes resentfully. And withdrawal, she never rests or acknowledges her limits. The cycle remains incomplete. It just keeps pulling her back, offering yet another chance to maybe finally pause, feel the no, and choose herself.
Okay, so the insight here is that this loop happens incredibly fast. It's like an automatic reflex. So to have any chance of changing it, we need to somehow slow down time, like zoom in frame by frame. The key seems to be spotting that exact moment before the autopilot kicks in, that split second of choice. How do we even begin to notice that? What does it feel like? What thought flashes through?
We have to become like gentle detectives of our own inner world, forensic investigators almost, but with kindness. The first step is to stop trying so hard to solve the problem or stop the reaction. Instead, the invitation is to try and feel the process as it's unfolding. Let's use that example again. Your idea gets dismissed in a meeting, or you get an email that feels sharp, critical. The usual habitual reaction might be, what? Shutting down, getting defensive, immediately apologizing or agreeing.
Yeah, something like that. Smooth it over, avoid the conflict. So if we could hit pause right there, what's happening underneath that automatic reaction? What are the layers?
Okay, so the immediate feeling right on the surface is often quite mobilized. It might be anger, irritation, frustration, defensiveness. It's got energy. But that anger, usually it's protective. It's like a guard dog. If you can stay with the physical sensation of the anger, maybe heat in your face, tightness in your chest, and just gently ask, okay, what's underneath this? You'll often find hurt.
The hurt of being dismissed,
Yeah.
of not feeling seen, or like you matter. It's the softer, more vulnerable thing the anger is protecting.
Exactly. And if you can bear to stay there with the vulnerability of the hurt and sink even deeper, just inquire gently what's under this, you will almost always land on the core primal feeling. Fear of conflict maybe, fear of being rejected, fear of being exposed as somehow not good enough, or just that deep old fear of being too much, too loud, too needy, too angry for the situation, for the relationship to handle.
So back to the meeting example. When the person smiles and says, oh, no worries, happy to rethink it, they're not just squashing the anger. They're simultaneously burying the hurt of feeling invisible and sidestepping the terror of potential conflict. They're choosing, in that split second, immediate safety or belonging over their own authentic experience, over their truth.
And that choice, repeated over and over, is precisely how the loop gets its immense power. It becomes this cage we build ourselves because we never allowed ourselves to fully feel and process what was actually happening in the moment. We never let the original feeling, the anger, the hurt, the fear, move through us and complete its natural cycle. So the only thing the system knows how to do with that trapped, unfinished energy is to keep bringing it back. Repetition.
Okay, we've kind of established that just telling yourself, stop reacting, doesn't work. It's like yelling at your nervous system, which is just trying to protect you. It's almost another layer of self-violence. So if the way out isn't forcing ourselves forward, how do we actually turn inward? How do we break this automatic reactive pattern?
The solution lies in reclaiming our agency by consciously lengthening the pause. That's the entire game. Our goal is to find and inhabit, even for a microsecond, that sacred, terrifying, fertile space that exists between the stimulus, the dismissal, the email, the demand, and our automatic looped response.
That space sounds
Yeah.
terrifying, because presumably in that gap, all the stuff we've been pushing down, the anger, hurt, fear, it's all right there, isn't it? Bubbling up.
It is terrifying, because it feels like the dam might break. Everything we've worked so hard to control or suppress feels like it's surging forward. But something crucial happens in that pause. We reconnect with the present moment. We realize, wait, I'm not that helpless child anymore. I'm here now. I'm breathing. I have resources now that I didn't have then. I can choose. The power isn't in controlling the outcome or stopping the feeling. The power lies in the awareness during that tiny window of potential choice.
So awareness isn't just passively noticing. Awareness is the interruption.
Awareness is the revolution.
Yes.
And it's not achieved by force or willpower. It's achieved by turning towards. When you pause just for a second and bring mindful, gentle, non-judgmental attention to what you're feeling right now in your body, you are literally giving your nervous system new information. You're offering it a corrective experience. See? The feeling is here, but we're not actually dying. The threat isn't immediate. We don't have to react automatically. You break the trance.
Okay, let's make this super practical now, moving from the why to the how. This is about shifting focus from fixing the outside world to interrupting the inside mechanism. What are the actual tangible steps someone can take right in the moment when they feel that familiar pull, that heat rising, that urge to shut down or lash out?
Right. This is about creating a little internal laboratory, a safe space inside the storm. When you feel that physical signature of the loop, the tightness, the heat, the impulse, we engage these 5 embodied steps. Think of it as a micro-revolution. And the key is tenderness, gentleness.
Okay, step 1, pause.
Yes, just stop, even for 3 seconds. That's often enough to interrupt the automatic pilot, the amygdala hijack. Don't try to figure anything out yet. Don't try to fix the situation. Just stop. Stop the internal chatter if you can. Stop the physical movement. Maybe unclench your jaw. Drop your shoulders slightly. Radical stillness, just for a moment.
Got it. Step 2, breathe.
Yes. 1 slow, conscious breath. And try to direct that breath right into the place in your body where the feeling is strongest. That knot. That ache, that tightness. Breath is the quickest way to signal safety to your nervous system. It starts to soften the edges of that intense sensation just a little, creates a tiny bit of space.
Okay, pause, breathe. Step 3, name it.
Silently, just to yourself, give what's happening some context. You could say, this is the loop, or, okay, this is that old fear, or this is the I must please everyone rule. Naming it does something powerful. It creates separation. Suddenly, you are not the feeling. You are the awareness that is noticing the feeling. That little bit of distance is crucial. You're not drowning in it anymore.
That makes sense. Pause, breathe, name it. Step 4, feel it.
This is often the hardest part, the place we usually bail. The instruction is simple but challenging. Refrain from analyzing, don't judge it, don't try to make it go away, just be with the raw sensation itself. Get curious about its physical qualities. What's the texture? Is it sharp, dull, vibrating, heavy? What's the temperature? Hot, cold, neutral? Allow yourself to just experience it directly. Remember, sensation wants to move. It only stays stuck when we resist it or run from it. This is the moment you stop running. You turn toward yourself.
Okay, pause, breathe, name it, feel it. And the last step, step 5. Ask.
Yes. Ask this simple question, directing it inward, specifically to the part of you that's feeling this intensity. What does this part of me need right now? Notice the question isn't what should I do about the situation or what does the other person want? It's internal. What does this scared part or this angry part or this overwhelmed part need from me right now? Maybe the answer is simple. Safety. To be heard, even just by you. Maybe it just needs another breath. Maybe it needs 5 minutes of quiet space later.
And we don't necessarily have to act on the answer immediately, do we? Just knowing the need is powerful, holding it with kindness.
Exactly. Sometimes the action is simply acknowledging the need. Taking another slow breath is the action. The transformation happens internally, in that moment of self-contact. Every single time you practice this pause, breathe, name, feel, ask you forgether, you are gently stretching out that cycle of experience. You're restoring your own agency. You're teaching your nervous system through lived experience a new possibility. We can feel this. We are safe enough. We have choices. And gradually the loop starts to lose its tight grip, simply because you're no longer abandoning yourself when the intensity hits. You're staying present.
And the real power here, it seems, is that this whole practice is internal. It stops making your well-being dependent on someone else changing their behavior.
It brings the locus of control back inside. Absolutely. We shift from being purely reactive, where the outside world dictates our internal state, to becoming responsive, where our own awareness allows us to choose our internal experience, regardless of what's happening externally. This slow, consistent, gentle meeting of your own experience. That's where the pattern finally begins to dissolve.
Now, this internal shift, it must have ripple effects outwards, right?
Yeah.
Especially in relationships. You know, to touch on that relational piece, those people who just seem perfectly designed to push our buttons. You know, the coworker who always seems to interrupt, or the partner who never seems to listen or validate you. How does the loop play out there?
Yes. This is where the work asks for perhaps the most humility, the most willingness to look deeper. Because the truth from a Gestalt view can be uncomfortable. Often that person who triggers you so intensely, they're acting as a kind of mirror. They are reflecting back to you a part of yourself that you haven't yet fully owned or felt or integrated.
Whoa. Okay, so the person triggering me, they might be showing me the anger I don't allow myself, or the boundary I'm too scared to set. Is that the idea?
Often, yes. That person who constantly interrupts might be mirroring back an assertiveness or maybe even an impatience that you learned was unacceptable in yourself. Maybe you got shamed for it. The thing that drives you absolutely crazy in them is frequently something you've disowned or exiled in you. The practice, when you feel that surge of irritation or judgment, is to pause and ask yourself gently, what am I projecting onto this person right now? What uncomfortable truth about myself might they be holding for me? What part of my own shadow am I refusing to acknowledge?
And it feels difficult. It almost sounds like letting them off the hook for their behavior, doesn't it? If they're being interruptive or dismissive.
It's not about excusing their behavior at all. Their behavior is their responsibility. But your suffering, your experience of being caught in the loop around their behavior, that is often sustained by your projection. As long as you refuse to own, for example, your own capacity for anger or your own need to take up space, which they might be doing clumsily, you unconsciously need them to keep playing the role of the bad guy, the interrupter, the dismisser. And that forces you to keep playing the role of the victim, the one who is interrupted or dismissed. You're locked in a dance together, fueled by the projection.
So the way out, the freedom from that triggered feeling, it actually depends entirely on my awareness, not on whether they ever change their behavior or apologize.
Precisely. Your freedom hinges on your willingness to withdraw your projections, to take back your own feelings, your anger, your hurt, your needs, and to own your capacity to express them cleanly, to set your own boundaries. You do this work for you, regardless of whether the other person ever changes. Your peace doesn't have to wait for them.
The loop only really has power as long as we think the solution is out there with them.
Exactly. The moment you turn your attention inward, the moment you reclaim your own feeling, honor your own truth, and make a conscious choice in that pause, the loop starts to dissolve. Why? Because you've stopped playing the old internal game, the game of self-abandonment and trying to control the external world to feel okay. The projection loses its energy because you are now holding the feeling yourself. You're no longer outsourcing your sense of worth or safety to the external world. You're finding it through self-contact, through internal presence.
That shift from needing the outside world to change to establishing that solid internal self-contact, that feels like the real point, the ultimate completion.
It's the shift from feeling like a victim of circumstances to reclaiming your agency. It's realizing the other person only holds the power over your emotional state that you grant them through your unexamined projections. Once you reclaim your inner territory, you can still observe their behavior, maybe find it annoying or difficult, but you're no longer hijacked by it. It doesn't automatically trigger that old painful story from your past.
Okay, this work, this process of returning again and again, it sounds incredibly tender, definitely vulnerable, and definitely not a straight line, right? We're going to mess up. We're going to get hijacked by the old reaction sometimes.
Absolutely. And that's actually part of the requirement, to embrace the reality that this is a practice of returning, not a destination of perfection. When you notice you've reacted, when you realize, oops, there I went again, the aim isn't judgment or self-criticism. That just adds another layer. The practice is the return. It's a quiet, gentle, internal, oh, look at that, there's the old pattern. Okay, let me come back, let me breathe. There's truly no failure here, only practice, only returning.
So if we manage to stay with it, if we allow a loop to actually complete, what does that feel like? You called it a quiet miracle. It doesn't sound like fireworks.
No, it really doesn't. It doesn't feel like a big victory lap. It feels quiet, profoundly quiet. Often it's just a deep sigh and exhale you didn't even realize you were holding in. Sometimes for years, it feels like space. Space opening up inside you where there used to be that chronic tension or dread. It feels like permission to be different. The realization is often very simple, almost underwhelming, but incredibly powerful. Oh, I don't have to do that anymore. You didn't need a massive life overhaul. You just needed the courage in those small moments to turn towards the feeling you'd been avoiding for so long.
And that completion.
Yeah.
It truly doesn't need anything from the outside world. No apology, no understanding from others.
Nothing. It only requires your presence. Your willingness to finally feel what you've been running from, to let the grief flow, to allow the anger its clean expression, even if only internally at first, to let the fear be felt and seen so it can finally settle. That's how you close the books on unfinished business, one tender, present moment at a time.
So loops might still arise. Life involves cycles, challenges, but the difference is we now have a way to move through them, to complete them.
That's the anchor, exactly. So the final invitation, really, is to make I am here, I am feeling this, and I am choosing your new touchstones, your new internal ritual. Perhaps the most radical, life-changing thing you can do is to keep meeting your reactions, your triggers, your stuckness with curiosity and compassion again and again, instead of with judgment.
A commitment to presence rather than striving for perfection. That feels like the quiet revolution that can really change everything. Thank you. This has been incredibly insightful.
It's truly an honor to explore this together. Just keep practicing that gentle, unwavering attention to your own experience. It really is everything.